Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about how to make a gradient using this grid. So let's take a look at this particular tool. So what you see right now is kind of an apple that I created, and I did it very fast. So how did I start? Well, let's just start with a circle, and I'm going to change the color of this circle, and I'm going to make it kind of a deep red color. So let's just get right up in here and make a kind of very deep red. Maybe that's a little too bright. Let's get it maybe a little bit further over, like something like that. Okay, so there's my red. And now I'm going to add some points. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm just going to add a couple points. Notice I'm waiting for my plus sign to show. There it is. And let's do another one right there, and another one over here, maybe another one over here. And now I'm going to use my pen convert tool, which is Shift C, and I'm going to just go ahead and kind of round these out a little more. Give myself and remember I have to go in the direction. And then I'm going to use my letter A tool, and I'm just going to kind of pull them down and create that kind of bottom part to the apple. Let's move these guys in a little bit. All right. And maybe I'm going to pull this anchor point out and give it a kind of a curve there. There we are. And then this one I'm going to bring in as well. Okay, so now I've taken my circle, I've added 4 extra points, and I've kind of made it into what loosely could be a Red Delicious. And so we're going to go back now to our mesh gradient tool. So this is our mesh gradient tool right here. So let's bring it in closer. So it's right here. It looks like a little piece of mesh. And when I'm on it, you'll notice that my tool changes. And when I'm on an object, I get a little, like 4 white squares. So when I click on the edge of my stroke, my path, notice that I'm getting lines that are trying to simulate the kind of external area of what I made. So there I'm kind of trying to get a couple extra lines in here. And let's make a few more. And then I'm going to get one kind of maybe about here across the top. And that looks pretty good. So now I've kind of made a mesh by just clicking. And notice that in where every mesh intersects, that I actually have a point. So these are our anchor points, just like, you know, as if they were on the outside. So if I click on one, notice that I get 4 little handlebars. So if I click off of that, you can see now that that mesh is kind of messed up. So let me get back and get rid of that. But you can actually go in here and change these as well. It's a little harder than, you know, you'd think, but yeah. So now what I want to do though is I want to give it some highlights like this. So if I hold my shift key and I grab a point, let me grab another one and grab another one. Let's grab this one and maybe that one. And now notice that it says what color do you want? So if I go over here, I'm going to go into I don't want white, but notice that if I were in the whites, see how it's giving me a highlight there at the top? So I could go ahead and put that highlight in. And now if I want to get the bottom, let's zoom in a little bit. So if I want to get the bottom a darker color, so I want to make sure I'm on and I'm going to grab this guy and this guy, that one, this one, make sure I have it, this guy, and maybe this next over here, and this row right there. I'm going to grab these 2 rows, holding my shift key the whole time. Okay, and now I'm going to double click, and this time I'm going to go into the dark area. Oh, and look what we have. So we have an actual kind of darker gradient, right? So if I want to bring that up more, I could grab these points, holding my shift key, grab a few more, and now I could use my eyedropper, letter I, see how it's darkened? Grab the color I just did and see how there Now I've gotten a darker kind of gradient. Let's go back to the A key and let's go to this one and maybe this one and this one and this one and this one and then maybe that one, and go again with the letter I. And now I've kind of pulled that up. So you can see how, and then if I go and grab one of these points, let's say I want to bring this point down, see how it's changing this? If I bring this point over, it's starting to change. So if I want to add another line here, I could do that, right? And then maybe grab this point, A, letter A, and grab my eyedropper and continue to play with where these points are going to go. Now you'll notice that it is a little boxy, but it gets the job done. Depending on what I want. All right, so now let's go ahead and make a leaf. So this time, instead of using my pen tool, I'm going to use my pencil tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a nice leaf here. Now I've got an object. I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to make it kind of a green. I want it kind of yellow green. There we go. And there's my object, my leaf. Now I'm going to grab my gradient mesh tool, and I'm going to create some mesh lines. And let's just make a bunch. Whoops, Command Z. I want to make sure I want to get a point, another line. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's zoom in. Okay. So make sure I'm on my gradient mesh tool. No love over there. Oh, I know why. Because this was changed. So cancel. So what I need to do is go to my eyedropper and make sure I'm on my green. That's what happened. So I lost my color. And let's make another one up here, and maybe a couple across there. Okay, so now if I grab my my A tool again, and I just make grab some of my points. So notice that this one's white, so I'll go ahead and grab that, grab that, grab that, grab this one, and maybe this one and this one. And now I'm going to double click. And I don't want it to be white. I want it to be in this lighter green area. And we'll go and zoom out, Command 0. And there's my leaf that I created. And then let's go ahead and quickly make a stem. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of make a little stem here. And I'm going to make it brown. Say OK. I'm going to drop my stem, maybe make it a little smaller, because I can make it any size I want. And I'm going to bring in my leaf. And there I've made an apple. Group it together, Command G, and in no time at all I've made an apple. So the gradient mesh tool, really easy tool. You can take any shape if you want to get a real peach or an apple or some other shape, and you want to use that as your basis, just like you did when you were doing your other problems where you were, outlining it and then tapping in and using a color from it, and then maybe moving it over and using your eyedropper and grabbing colors from it, after you've made your mesh tool. Any of those things will work. So I hope that you enjoy using the mesh tool. It's a great tool. The gradient mesh tool, again, just creating a mesh. Every one of these points you can add a different color to, and it gives it a soft gradient spread. right around wherever you've added it. So really fun. Okay, till next time.